Thank you so much for joining us. Today, we are joined by a global icon, a globally recognized entrepreneur, philanthropist, a mother, a businesswoman, and a woman who has done so much, in a very short space of time. She goes by the name of the Princess of Africa. And to some of us, we know that she's a woman that has taught us that you can have it all. When they say you can't have it all, she is having it all. She has just completed her studies recently. She continues to do her singing, and singing was a primary career. And she has diversified into a number of business adventures that are exciting. And we are looking to actually talk to her about that. So please join me in welcoming the Princess of Africa, Ms. Yvonne Chaka Chaka. Ma, welcome, and thank you so much for making the time to join us. I haven't seen you in such a long time.
Hello, Thuli, and thank you once again for having me.
And I understand you've been busy studying, and congratulations on completing your postgraduate diploma.
Can you imagine starting at my age? And
You're
now
so very young.
I'm being pestered to do my MBA.
Please proceed and do your MBA.
I don't know. I have to think about it. Academic, writing, and doing all those things, turn it in, and it hasn't been easy, but we're here now.
It is done.
It is
So
done.
you are showing all the young women and young men out there that education is the only key that can open opportunities for them.
You know, there are people that become very lucky, Thuli, and they just come up with very innovative things, and they make it big. But you don't want to be stuck and not know what is what. So when you keep on reinventing yourself, making yourself better, and acquiring skills, I think for me, it's the best way to go.
Absolutely. So it's continuous learning,
Absolutely.
lifelong learning.
No doubt about that.
Wow. So, Ma, it actually started in music, and then you went into philanthropy, then you went into business, and now you're into acting. We are always told you can't have it all. How do you manage to juggle so many things all at once, if I may add?
I wouldn't call it having it all. It's just maybe being at the right place at the right time. When I was young, I always wanted to be a chartered accountant. My mother wanted me to be a lawyer, which I really tried studying. And I'm happy to tell whoever cares to know that I failed Afrikaans 3 times. I failed mercantile law. I failed history 1. I only passed English. And I thought, this is not working for me. And music was not something that I anticipated. I found myself there.
Music found you.
I would rather say that, thanks to Phil Hollis, who, when other people didn't believe in me, and he said, you've got a different voice, a very unique voice, and I'm going to make you a superstar. And I thought, okay, what does that mean, But 38 years later, Yvonne Chaka Chaka is there. I was talking to somebody a couple of days ago that this 15-year-old boy was just being funny. I was at the shops, and instead of him greeting me, he went past me whistling. And I looked at him and I'm like, I'm going to kick your butt. So he was trying to show me that I know you. So, when you are given a platform, I always say to people, use it to your best of your advantage as well. So being given this platform of singing, I thought, okay, what do I get out of it? What do I do with it? And whilst I'm receiving, how do I then give back? So you then have to say to yourself, it's not just good to just take and take. Whilst you're given a platform and you're receiving something, do something as well to make your life better and other people's lives better, because we get our money from people. People are the ones who support you. They're the ones who come to your shows. And what do you do in return? And just being, and have some kind of humility as well.
And they also see you as one of them because you live in their house. They play your music. They relate to you. You are actually their source of comfort. You are their source of inspiration. And you are one of them,
Absolutely.
So, looking back, what are some of the lessons that your childhood has actually taught you that have helped you to be grounded in the music industry? As you would know, I think it's an industry that is very difficult. It's an industry that is, flawed with a lot of, mistakes that are easy to make because there is all this hype, there's all this excitement, there's all this recognition. Yet you and I know that when you go back home, you still have to be a mother. You still have to be responsible with your finances. You still have to be a community member. And most importantly, you still have to remember that you are as good as your last performance. You have to be on top of your game.
I think once you have your feet firm on the ground and just being with people who have your interest, your best interest at heart, and not believing the hype. You should not believe the hype because I think that's what gets into one's head. You know, you think you've got it all, you are untouchable, and that becomes a big mistake. It is a lesson for all of us, because whilst you make your record and your hit, you don't know if the next one's going to be a big one or not, or people would have forgotten about you and somebody else comes. So this is that kind of an industry where you constantly have to reinvent yourself. And our work is seasonal as well. It's not like every day. But you find other artists who are very, very lucky, who constantly work. And I've been one of those. And thanks to the people that I work with, thanks to the people that do my management. But I think once you know who you are and having your feet firm on the ground, you then know how to juggle yourself. As you said, I'm a mother. I was a student at some stage. And you have to go on stage as well. You have to go to board meetings. So all these things require you to prep. You need to do good preparation, and you don't have to sit there and just become a rubber stamp. Anything that you do, you have to do it very well. And sometimes, there's mistakes. You go on stage and there's a mistake there because the sound is not good, or so all those things. So you need to know how to manage some of these things correctly.
And I think for an African woman to actually have such global reach and such global appeal, it's actually a big inspiration. Many, many young African women look up to you and they say, how did you do it? Everything around you seems to be so perfect. Everything around you seems to be going so well. And everything around you seems to just be taking you to the next big success and the next big success. What could you share about, your early days in terms of the mistakes that you would have made and how you overcame those mistakes? And also some of the early mistakes that you made as an entrepreneur and some of the fears that you would have had going into entrepreneurship, because sometimes when you finally have made it and have made it big, people forget that you were exactly where they are, at a point in time. What are some of those early days learnings for you?
I'm happy that you asked that question, Thuli, because people see you there, having cutlery and crockery at different shops, and they think, oh, she's made it. Mistakes have been made. Learnings. I think in any business, if you say you've tried to do business and it was just a boom, congratulations to you. There's so many mistakes that we do because sometimes there's no proper due diligence. You just go into whatever business without even knowing or even learning. That's another thing. You just hear people say, oh, there's this particular business, let's go into it. It's a business you don't understand. It's a business you don't know. Are you prepared to learn? Take your time and learn. I know in 1993, we brought limousines in South Africa, and I think we're ahead of our time. And we lost lots of money. It was a short-term business at the time, and people were not sure if South Africa is going to be what they anticipated. People were leaving, and there were all sorts of things that were being said. But it's just unfortunate because I'm a South African. I have one passport, and I'm a South African, and I can never go anywhere. If I have to invest, I have to invest in my country. But obviously, we took a big knock, because I think we were ahead of our times. So I really learned from that to say, you sometimes want to do business, and you don't know what to foresee. And so we lost lots of money when we started Piantlani. So we dropped that business. And later on, I always wanted to have hair products, you know. And I've worked with people who know all the combinations and the formulas and everything. But there were things that they were not getting right. And for me, you have to practice what you preach. Absolutely. If you have hair products, it must be something you believe in and something that you use as well. If you're going to do crockery and cutlery, it must be something that you can be proud of when you eat from that as well. And so it's those mistakes that one has made, but you learn from your mistakes. For me, it's waking up, dusting yourself, and saying, I'm going to go forward because now I know what entails to do proper business. Proper due diligence has to be done, working with people who've been there in the industry much longer than you, Absolutely. Who understand the business, who know the curves of the business. And I think just being easy to be teachable, you know, and not think you know it all.
And be a student.
And be a student in anything. Whether it's in business, whether it's in class, I think it's always imperative that one sits and listens to those who came before you.
And I remember last year this time, we were like so excited. The Woolworths deal had just been signed, and it's actually a first anniversary around about this time, so congratulations. For all those that, you know, are actually wanting Christmas presents, Yvonne Chaka Chaka has beautiful crockery that is sold in partnership with Woolworths. It celebrates our identity, who we are, and the design really is centered around the isikolo, which is the crown of a woman, and which basically signifies the importance of family, the importance of having support in society from our women leaders, but most importantly, I think the identity of us as South Africans in terms of Ubuntu and unity in our diversity, because each design is designed such that it is actually telling a story that we could actually take and personalize and relate to in our own stories. I used to actually tell people that in my home, there was crockery that was never touched because it was for the guests, you know. Then there was crockery that was for Christmas. And then if you are given that crockery to use, it is because it's a special occasion or you have achieved something. And what really inspired you going into the crockery business with Woolworths?
You know, my mom used to work as a domestic worker, and going into the madam's house and seeing all these pieces, and you think, oh, wow. And as I started working and earning a salary, I used to go to auctions, you know, to buy, whether it's Noriteka, China, and all those. And so when I was approached by Gerard, you know, from the company ITTC, I was quite chuffed, I must say. And I thought I really need to learn first. I've become a person who wants to understand the kind of business I go into. I know the Total Document Solution company that I did a couple of years ago, I think in 2005, with Gestetner. It was not the business I understood, but I had to learn. So I thought it's good that I know, you know, what is porcelain, what is stoneware, how long do you have to bake it, you know, and how is it going to be glazed and all those things. So that took me about that long to understand this business. But crockery and cutlery has been something that I've always loved. My husband, you know, Tiny's amazing. He's always gone to different shops to buy me just small, different things. And I've got my kids, you know, people like yourself and Nompi and them who'll bring me small, beautiful things, whether it's a cup and a saucer and a teapot and a creamer, just to display, you know, as you said, as young people, there was a cupboard, you know. I'm sure everybody knows that there are those cupboards in the townships which you don't open. So it's cutlery and crockery for Christmas or for priests, or for visitors or for important
Especially
people.
for press. Yes.
Exactly. So for me, I wanted to have a cutlery that can be used by your everyday people. It must be classy, it must look good, but it should be affordable as well. Who said something that is not affordable is not good? And who said something that is classy should be expensive as well? So I wanted to make it for your everyday people. But you look at it and you say, I'm worth it to eat from this. Thank you to Herat and ITTC to partner with me and to do the Chaka Chaka range. So we've got the stoneware and the porcelain.
Where is the stoneware being sold at?
The stoneware, you can get it online on our Lavished online. It's not in the shops as yet. And we've got the new gold splash as well, which is a porcelain as well, because when you get into this business, you actually don't have to stop. You have to come up with new ideas. And so the people that I sit with and we create the designs we want, and that will appeal to our people as well. Because remember, the competition is very tight and it's very, very high. So you need to do something that is very classy, not easily scratchable, good for microwave because people put stuff in the microwave, and things that are not going to break very easy. So it must be something that is very, very good. And I'm very, very happy with this business that I'm in now.
Wow, congratulations once again. And you've also ventured into hair products?
Yes, I've had dreadlocks for 17 years. I've decided that I do not want any chemical, on my hair. So as you can see, this is just natural hair wash, and that's it. So I wanted products that are going to be very easy to use for people like yourself, business people. Wash and just apply, quick and easy, and you just apply and you go. So we've got the leave-in conditioner, we've got the shampoo and the conditioner, and we've got the hair food. The hair food is very good, I must say. And it's just for natural hair. The problem is that when you want to go organic, because I really didn't want any preservatives and things to add on, I don't know why should organic be expensive, but it is. So people go to the shop and they see the Princess of Africa hair care, 97 rands, and another spray, 35 rands. So they'll take the cheap one. So I really don't have much time to go into these shops to do all these activations, to tell people, this one is organic, because you find sometimes very few people read what are the ingredients on the product. And I think it's very important so that you know what you are using. Sometimes people just react and they don't even know. Maybe it's something in the product that doesn't go well with you. So I really encourage people to really read.
And I also think it's about buying local and supporting local, because when we buy stuff that is locally made, we are simply circulating the money into the economy. We are allowing jobs to be preserved in the economy. But most importantly, we are allowing our people to be included in the economic value chain and ensuring that, the cake, which is basically the economy, which is big for everybody, has more and more participants, especially from previously disadvantaged.
It can be shared by all of us.
It is big enough for all of us.
Precisely, precisely.
So hair products, crockery and cutlery, music, acting. What next can we actually expect from you? Because I think you always surprise us. When we think we know she's actually a businesswoman, she comes and she's an actress. We know she's an actress and she comes, she's a student. What more can we expect from you?
I think sometimes we become very complacent as people and think, oh, I'm okay here. But I think for one to want to learn, to want to expand your horizon, whether it's in business or in education, that makes you a better person. And it keeps your brain working as well. I'm contemplating doing my MBA now. Thanks to Henley for the scholarship. Really appreciate it. I'm asking myself, what am I going to do with an MBA at 58? But for me, it's not what am I going to do with it, but really for me, because I sit on different boards. I've just been appointed to sit on the board of Rollback Malaria, which is a UN entity as well. So it makes me feel very good. And because now you go there, you understand the business of the day, how to conduct a board meeting. I've just been asked to do, it's a series, And yeah, thank you to those people. So I act as a judge.
Oh, lovely. Judge Yvonne.
So for me, it's when people still want you to be part of them, and when they still think you've got what it takes, it really makes me feel good, and it really humbles me, because I learn from young actresses, I learn from young musicians, I learn from young entrepreneurs like yourself, Thuli, who, I mean, today we're really sitting here. This is a business, and people would say, "Oh, what is African Storytellers?" It's a proper business. And, you know, we tell our stories we tell our business stories through this platform, which is really, really amazing. And so I align myself with people who see good in me, and I can learn from them as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think as a leader in society, there is an expectation for you and many like you to take a position on some of the things that happen in our environment, in our spaces. You know, one of the things is gender-based violence. What can you actually say to us as a society on being our sister and our brother's keepers when it comes to gender-based violence?
You know, gender-based violence, Thuli, is not a new thing. I'm 58 today, and I grew up in Soweto, and I've seen mothers being battered, running through the streets, being hit by their husbands. It wasn't as bad as it is now. It's gender-based violence coupled with all sorts of things. So all I can say is that it should start with us in our own homes. Because for me, charity begins at home. What kind of a boy child are we bringing? What kind of a girl child are we also bringing up as parents as well? So things should begin in our households. We cannot depend on the community to do things. If you teach your children in your household to be respectful, to be caring, and to be loving, so when they go out, it will be very easy, both for boys and girls. But if children see their father beating their mother up, they'll think that's the right thing to do. And they actually emulate what they see. So it is us in our households, before we could even ask for the community and for the society to do that.
So the fixing starts in the home.
For me, everything starts at home as well. And when it comes to communities as well, you can't just sit in your glass house. You also need to see what is happening out there. But things have become so difficult, it becomes very difficult to reprimand somebody's child now. If I see a young girl smoking out there, and it's a 15-year-old or 13-year-old, it becomes so difficult for me to reprimand them, to say, you can't be doing that, because their parents will tell you, you are abusing my child. What business do you have? So these are the things as communities we need to talk about as well, you know, so that these things should not happen. Because you look at a young man and he sees a girl out there and he thinks, oh, that's my, you know, they see these women as object of desire, and that should not be happening. So we need to teach our boy child, our girl child as well, not to depend on people who will abuse them as well, because abuse is two-way, by the way. So gender-based violence has become a pandemic, which is really sad. The people who are supposed to be looking after us, loving us, caring for us, are the ones who abuse us, kill us, and maim us, and that should come to a real end.
Yeah, I think another challenge that we are faced with as a continent is the young population. You know, about 70% of Africa's population is under 30. In your own words, what can we do to make sure that our young people are actively engaged in jobs or businesses that would help them to be active contributors to the economy, but most importantly, take them away from the streets and ensure that we've got a better future than what we currently have and that what the previous generations had?
You know, I constantly say Africa is not the dark continent that everybody believes it to be. This is a continent with absolutely every mineral and all the riches. It's just unfortunate that all these minerals and these riches just benefit a few. So what can we do as Africa to make sure that we don't have our young people crossing the seas and unfortunately dying as well because they are looking for greener pastures? It's important that we make sure that our young people are included when we have policies that will include them as well. I know we constantly say we depend on governments and things like that. Governments cannot do it on their own. Business people should come together as well. So it should be businesses, it should be policy makers, it should be government, where we come together to say, how do we come up with programs where our young people are not going to be looking for jobs, but are able to create the jobs? We need governments to come up with better policies for our people. We need the powers that be as well to say, how do we level the playing field? You know, conducive environment for people to be able to do things for themselves. Because you can imagine, an idle mind will always do anything. And when young people are not given a chance to be themselves, good skills, good education, they will end up doing anything. And sometimes we then force our children to do STEM. That's very important. We should do that. But when we at an early age see that a particular child is good with his hands or with her hands, we need to place them accordingly, and so that they are able to use their hands and not feel stupid or unappreciated because they're not good at maths and science. So these are the things that we have to do, and so that we can make sure that everybody has a place in life and in the society, and they contribute, you know, towards the economy as well. So we cannot be forcing young people maybe to do maths and science and neglect things like boiler makers. So you need from a very early age to see what are these young people passionate in, how do we upskill them, and how do we give them proper training to be able to feed and to fend for themselves.
And how do we include more and more women as active participants in the economy? How do we ensure that there are women in boardrooms, there are women in business, there are women in public sector leadership positions, and most importantly, that women work together?
You know, women have always been at the forefront of making sure that even men have food. Women have gone to the fields, women have had all sorts of things. It's a man-made thing where women have been put in the kitchen or told that your place is in the kitchen. Women have always been at the forefront of businesses, and they've done that. And now that things have really sort of changed, I think it is important that we put women in good and very strategic positions, because they've got the ability to do that. But as I said, it has always been a man-made thing that men should be the ones in the boardroom. And another thing for me is when these women are in these positions, I always say when I do my public speaking to women who are taking a lift and going up to the 54th floor, make sure that you press that elevator down to go and fetch more women. Don't be happy to be the only one in the boardroom. Bring other women, work with other women. Let's strategize together so that we can, you know, women are very empathetic. Men are hard. And it's just that, you know, they don't think with their hearts. They just, they are very good business people.
We work well together.
Women,
They bring the hard, we bring the soft.
exactly, because we do need each other. For me, I always say, whatever business one gets into or whatever boardroom you want to go to, as a woman, be there as feminine as possible. Don't go there and act like a man and do things like a man. No, leave men to be men. Be a woman, work efficiently. And so when we work together with our male counterparts as well, we're not there to show who's smarter than who.
Absolutely.
We need to be there, work together to complete each other and not to compete in whatever we do.
Wow, that is very powerful. That is very, very powerful. And I'm certain that our viewers out there are actually taking notes, learning, and will remember some of these lessons as they navigate their own lives. So on a personal level, how do you relax? What do you do when you say you're relaxing?
You know, I always say to my children, and you know better, I love massages, I love makeups. I love just sitting there and having people just doing my makeups.
You love being a princess.
I love being the princess. But I must say that I love my sleep. I just urge people as well, you know, to do not overwork yourself because you only have you.
Work-life balance.
Yes, and it's very, very important. So I do take breaks. I do sleep a lot. And and sometimes I always say, sometimes there's no time to relax or just take things easy. You constantly have to work because you don't know where's your next meal coming from. I always say it's important to work and you see what you're working for and you'll relax in your coffin forever.
So how do you bounce back when you've actually had, a project that has gone wrong and you realize this is not what you thought it would be and you are feeling down and out or depressed? How do you get yourself back?
You know, there's so many projects that I've done and they've just gone, maybe it was not meant for me. Maybe it was not right. Maybe there are things that I didn't do correctly or I didn't collect enough information to be able to do that. But I don't easily give up. Always want to do things to the best of my ability. And I always say I am a perfectionist in everything that I want to do. So I always work with different people. I think for me is working with people who know what should the end product look like. So I work with people who are happy and easy to take pressure because I sometimes think, my sister Rafilo always says, Yvonne, you know, we are tlorisana. I don't know what is that in English, but I want people to give their all in everything that you do. Whether we're doing just a community thing, you need to put that effort in everything and not just say, oh, here, now we're just going to Dobsonville or to Soweto to give this. Whatever job you're doing, you need to give it your all. And whether the end product is what you anticipate it to be or not, you always say, you know what, I've learned from my last project. It didn't go as well as I wanted it to be. And so this time, this is how I'm going to tackle it.
I know you've actually ventured into acting recently. Are we going to see more of you in music?
I've just released last December a single with Hugh Masekela and Oliver Mtukudzi. You know what? I don't know.
That's your first love, eh?
Once a musician, always a musician. I mean, there's more young people singing now. I know that people who open doors for us, you know, your Ray Phiris, your Miriam Makebas, your Hugh Masekelas, music evolves and music does change. I mean, we had bubblegum, we had umpaqanga, we had amapiano, now we've got, kwaito, and now we've got amapiano. So, so I'm sure something else is coming back. So I may not. I'm happy where I am now in the space that I'm in, you know, with the business that I'm doing. Yeah. I get lots of young people wanting me to manage them, and I'm like, I still want to be managed myself as well, you know. Yeah.
You've actually met a lot of famous people, including former President Nelson Mandela, whom you were very, very close to. What are some of the lessons that he actually imparted on you that you still carry with you to this day?
You know, I've been very, very lucky in my life to have met different presidents, from the president of the DRC, Seseko Maputo, President Museveni, President Thabo Mbeki, President Mandela, and President Kikwete from Tanzania, and they all come, you know, with different wisdom, exactly. But I must say that Madiba being incarcerated for 27 years, but came out and embraced his tormentors and wanted to have a rainbow nation. I always ask myself, or just imagine, if Madiba came out of jail and just said, let's go to war, how would this country have been? South Africa, with all its problems, it's still one of the best countries.
Beautiful.
And all countries have different problems. But I think Madiba was very, very strategic in making sure that our country doesn't go to the docks.
How many years?
And always humble. I've never seen a humble man, yet he was a statesman. So there's a lot that we could learn from Madiba, all of us as South Africans, because obviously 30 years ago, or even 35 years ago, not so long ago, a black person was nothing in this country. But I want to think we've been given back our dignity, and we have to work very, very hard. I mean, people are complaining of service delivery currently, and just doing business in South Africa. Other people are complaining that it's not very easy. So I urge the powers that be and our government to say, level the playing field. The unemployment as well, you know. So how do we then get it right to where our fathers, Baba Sisulu, Baba Biko, Baba Madiba, wanted for this country? How do we then go back to, you know, and then doing things right? We cannot afford to have our young people roaming around the streets. We cannot afford our people selling themselves cheap. How do we go back to say we are creating a South Africa for all, not just for the few?
No, absolutely. Wow, that is actually quite powerful. And on that note, I would like to thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. I really, really enjoyed this conversation, and I know that this is not the last conversation that we are having. I'm almost certain that next year sometime we'll be celebrating more milestones and we will have you again. But as we part, I'd want to actually remind our viewers that Woolworths, that's where you'll get your Christmas gifts, all the Yvonne Chaka Chaka crockery. I think it's ShopRite. It's ShopRite, right? Where we've got the hair products. And I think for us as Africans, again, it's important to support our own and make sure that we are embarking on a journey where we are consuming our own products and we know who is making the products, who are the people that are benefiting from the businesses that these products are being made of. With the hair care products, I know that it's actually women only that are producing the products, which is phenomenal. I mean, imagine a company that is basically employing our own women and teaching them skills that ordinarily they would not actually have, and ensuring that more and more people are able to look after their families and put food on their table. And again, in terms of the charity work that you are doing, it is quite impressive. We know that you are doing a lot with the Rollback Malaria campaign, with UNICEF, and with so many other initiatives, including the one that you're doing in Soweto. And in closing, can you share with us that particular work on the project that you are doing for the home in Soweto?
Well, the home in Soweto is called Imbali Entle. It's a home for AIDS people. So we look after Patrick and the people that Patrick looks after. So we buy them groceries. We help with Patrick is the founder of the Imbalente, and thanks to all the people, you know, different shops giving me, whether it's sheets, blankets, to go and give to the home, so that the people that Patrick looks after, they sleep in good sheets as well, and they're clean, and they've got blankets, they've got curtains and all sorts of things, and crockery, by the way. So that's the little that the Princess of Africa Foundation does as well. And you know, sometimes there's young people there, so we'll give them sanitary pads and things like that. So I thank all the people who come to the party, because I would not have done it on my own. I get donations from different people, and I'm grateful for that.
Your story has actually reminded us that if our dreams do not scare us, then they are not big enough. But you've also equally reminded us of the importance of Ubuntu, that we owe our being and our existence to the communities and the families that we actually come from. And lastly, you have also reminded us that Africa is a continent with immense opportunities, and it is us as Africans that need to go out there and embrace each other and together unlock those opportunities for the broader good of the continent and the benefit of this generation and generations to come. And on that note, thank you so much, Ma, and wishing you all the best in your next projects and wishing you a happy festive season.
Thank you, Thuli, for having me, and congratulations for this podcast. And I dare remind people to go down and get into this African Storyteller podcast and make sure that you follow African storytellers. This is a podcast, but this is a business as well. So don't forget that.